Hey, how's it going everyone? Today I'm going to show you how to get the brought a knife to a gunfight achievement on Gears 5. To do this you need to complete an escape hive without firing a shot on master difficulty, which sounds pretty tough to do, but to be honest, once you know how to do it, it really isn't that difficult. We struggled to get through this just on master difficulty originally, and I kind of wish we knew this strategy before we did that, because this is a lot easier than the strategy we used before. Although if you're looking to get through just with guns, I have a video up for that if you'd like to go and check it out. I'll link it around in the description and at the end of this video if you want to go back and watch that. So the characters we used to do this were Cat, Lahni and Emile, and that's because Lahni and Emile have very strong melee abilities. If you get their cards upgraded, they can do a lot of damage with their melees. Emile has the bloody knife and the big knife cards, which allow him to do bleeding damage with his melees. So I think one melee from Emile, when you have the right cards equipped, is worth 3 melees in total. So that's very useful in doing this. Also, Lahni has that ultimate ability where she does mega damage with the knife. Obviously that doesn't count as shots fired, so that's really useful for dealing with heavier enemies in this run if you're struggling to get rid of them. Also, Cat has the hologram, which is really good for distracting enemies. So if you can get Cat and Emile up to level 16, you'll get their gold cards, and their gold cards give them stim abilities. So if they remain undamaged for a certain amount of time, I think the first level of it is 8 seconds, they get the stim, and you can see there Emile has it on it, so it gives you a bit of shield. You can find that in certain pickups in some of the other hives, but they're not in this one. Pretty much it gives them 200% health, although I don't have Cat up to level 16, I have her up to around level 12 or so, or something like that. So I didn't have the stim, but if you want to make this even easier than it was for us here, get Cat up to level 16. It does pay off to have Emile at level 16, because he can sort of take the front line a little bit and go for the melees, take a little bit more damage without being at as much risk as the rest of you. So in this first area, you want to walk slowly. If you walk slowly and you've got drones in this section, as long as you walk as slow as you possibly can, about the speed that I am here, then the drones won't detect you. In this first area there can sometimes be hunters and drones. Doing this just stops them from hearing you, and you can sneak up on them and get stealth kills on those guys. Makes them a little easier to deal with. If they do spot you, you can just run in all together and just melee the hell out of them. That tends to work pretty well as well. Yeah. So you're going to be doing that for the first section here. We just need to get rid of these enemies. We've got a few drones chilling ahead of us. You want to just keep an eye on them here. If they detect you, they'll sort of turn around and roar at you, and then you know that you've got to do your best to bait them towards you and just melee them out. If you do this successfully and you all stay quiet and walk at a slow pace, you can sneak up on these guys and get a couple of cheap kills. They ended up hearing us, so we had to go in and just do the mass melee strategy all together on those melees, get those guys killed. Once you've done that, you can start running again. And you might have either a couple of juvies here or an imago. You can see how much damage these guys do on master. We just got took down by one imago in one clip, 2 of us. So at this point, we send Emile, who's got the stim, into the next room to try and get the Ice Scion's attention. We need to get him to follow us into this area so that we can kill him easily. And sometimes you'll get 2 flashbangs in this supply room. That's pretty useful. It's not necessary, but there's always at least 1 flashbang in there. So go in there, grab that flashbang. If you don't get 2, you should have an incend and a frag grenade in the other room, which is really useful. If you don't get 2 of those flashbangs, you can always pick up the ammo pouch to get an extra one that's marked there. But because I found 2 in that room, I ended up just leaving the ammo pouch behind, but because I had 2 at this point, and that's all you really need. Although you can use one here, like I'm going to in a second, and then go and grab another one if you want to. That's up to you. So like I said, there aren't really that many cards you can get for Cat. For some reason her cards are for Horde, like she has flow abilities that help her in the engineering class in Horde, and I don't think you can play as her in Horde, but she has a couple of useful cards for escape, I guess. Only really 2 though, and that's the stim card and the hologram duration card. You want to get those ranked up a little bit before you do this. And so what we want to do is get the Ice Scion here, stun him up with a flashbang, and then everybody melee him together to get him killed as quick as possible. Emile having those bleeding cards really helps out here because you can get away when he recovers from the flashbang and he's still taking damage. And then you should also get a couple of drones that follow up the Ice Scion. That makes the next room a little bit easier. There's less people shooting at you when you're trying to run through it. Makes it way easier. So at this point, I'm just waiting around until I've got the hologram ultimate ability ready. I don't quite have it yet, so we just sit here. Maybe another drone will come towards us, maybe he won't. I don't think he did this time, but sometimes they do. Maybe you'll get a grenadier. If you do, just work together to melee them down. Don't fire any shots, just get them killed. And yeah, we're just waiting for my ultimate ability to come up a little bit more before we go into this room, because what we're going to do is go in there and try and group all the enemies by sitting on the right side. That will hopefully attract all of the drones and whatever else is in there to the one side. And then once that's done, we'll move over to the left. And then I'll send out my hologram and we'll just make a break for the safe room. Making this section really easy. You don't really have to kill that many of the enemies that are left. So I'm nearly ready with my ultimate ability. So we're going to go in and move over to the right in a second. So as far right as you can. You can do this either way. You can sit on the left and try and bring the enemies over to the left if you like. If any enemies are close, do your best to take them out. Obviously some of you might go down. Just make sure that somebody stays safe so that you can crawl back and get revived. So after that guy's eliminated, we're going to go over here. I need to get picked back up again. And we're just going to wait around here for about 10-15 seconds. Try and group up the enemies. Like I said, we're just waiting. These guys will all sort of slowly come over to this section to aim at us, and when we're ready we're going to move back over to the left, use that hologram, and then just make a break for the safe room. So get ready to pick people up, make sure you're running together, don't separate too much so that if someone does go down you can quickly turn around and pick them up. So we go down here, send the hologram out there, and then we just get moving towards the safe room. What you might want to do, I think we end up doing this here, is when you get just around this corner here, drop the shield by Emile. That'll block their bullets so no one's shooting you in the back as you're running for the safe room, and you'll have the shield back in the later portions of the Hive, which means you'll be able to use it again, which is pretty useful. You can see that Lahni went down there. I quickly fell back to pick her up, and we were covered because of the bubble shield. Nice and easy. Okay, so once we're done in here, you can have different enemies in this next section. You can either have a group of grenadiers, a Mulcher Scion, or Juvies. It can vary a little bit. If you get the Scion, you're going to want to flashbang him with the one flashbang you have left, and then we're going to group attack him and get him killed like we did with the other Scion. Attack him as much as you can while he's flashed. That'll make it nice and easy. If you've got Juvies, you're just going to have to do your best to use the grenades that you have. There's a shock grenade in this room. You should have an incendiary grenade and a flash and a normal grenade that you can use to take out as many of the Scions as possible. Not Scions, sorry. Juvies, to take out those guys. Or you can get a group of grenadiers. If you get the grenadiers, again, you're going to want to use the grenades to your advantage to get rid of them. Flashbang them, and then you can execute them when they're stunned from the flashbang, and use the normal grenade and the incendiary grenade and the shock grenade to do as much damage to them as you possibly can. So I'm saving the flashbang for this Scion. We got rid of the popper. He's now stunned. They picked me up and we're going to go to town on him, getting those melees in, hit him as much as we can, and that should hopefully get him killed. There we go. Beautiful. So moving on, we're going to go in the right direction. When we get up here, you've got two choices as to which way to go. We're going to go right into the incinerator room, and once we get in there, we have a few drones and a couple of snipers to deal with. Make sure you stick to the right. If you push over to the left first, the warden is going to spawn early. We don't want that. Stick close together. If anyone goes down, get them picked up as quick as you can. Here we go. Working well on those revives. Come into this room then, and we're just trying to kill these guys with melees as fast as we can, using that triple melee technique. For that you need to press B twice and then hold B just after you connect on the second melee, and that will stun them up, and then you can press B again a final time while they're stunned, to do the execution. Right, so here's the Warden. You can kill the Warden, and I'm pretty sure we tried to kill him. If you've got an extra flashbang at this point, you can use it to stun the Warden, and then Lahni will want to use her ultimate ability and hit him in the back as much as possible. Lahni has a card called Flank, I think, where she does more damage from behind. So if she activates her ultimate ability and hits him in the back, she can get him killed. But we got unlucky here, and Lahni ended up going down. So we had to trap the Warden like we usually do. We ended up forgetting about this idea. If you can get the Breaker Mace, it does help out. It's not necessary. It can really help out towards the end though. And if you get the Flock, you just want to trap him in the supply room. We're going to do that with the Warden here just because it's easier. Now that we can't really kill him without the ultimate ability of Lahni's. And we don't have a flashbang to stun him. The enemies on this difficulty, on this Hive, regenerate their health after you've hurt them. So even though we got him really close to dying, we can't finish him off really. He's going to get his health back. I wanted to also mention that if you split up into the supply rooms here, the Warden will always chase the person that goes into this supply room that I'm in right now. He won't come to the further away one. He'll come to this one. So be ready. We saved the flashbangs here to get him stunned. And I think I grabbed that one out of the ammo pouch that was in the other supply room. If you don't have a grenade and you pick up the explosives ammo pouch, you will get a flashbang out of it. Either way, that's the Warden trapped in that supply room now. He can't get to us. And we're going to do our best to take out anything that's behind us before we move into the next section. Because if you don't, these guys will just end up coming behind you at the end, which is really annoying. We managed to get them killed. Emile's bleeding knife is really helpful because he can hit them a couple of times and just run away, and usually that'll get them killed. Stick together here, do your best. We also got a Sire here. You might want to watch out for the Sire. You really want to get that killed before you move into the next room because he can just come behind you and cause you guys a lot of trouble when you're trying to escape. So get him killed. Work together to get rid of the Sire. Again, Emile's melee abilities make it really easy to get rid of the Sires just because he keeps doing a lot of damage. Here we go, that guy's dead. One more drone here. He's also dead. Let's get him finished. And now we're going to move into the next section. And what we try and do in here is first of all clear any drones or embargoes that are in this area. In this little switch window area. Got another drone right here, and we were all sitting on the left side, and we were doing our best to draw the enemies over to the left side as close to us as possible, as close to us as we can. And then when that's done, we were going to run around to the right so that we could just get the Scions up here and then move around them so that they wouldn't be able to make it over to the door in time. And also save Cat's next hologram use for the landing zone. That way, if anything does follow you out of the landing zone, you can use the hologram to attract all of them towards it, and hopefully they won't bother you when you're making your escape. I think we actually messed it up, but we got lucky, and it still came in useful, but it was a little bit sloppy. But you'll see what we were going for and what we were trying to do. So one of the Scions actually made it over to us here, and we ended up flashbanging him and just making a run for it. Like we did before, when we get to this point, we got Emile to drop his shield so that anyone shooting us is getting blocked by those bullets, by the shield, and the bullets don't make it towards us. So I put out my hologram there, and it's better off if you put it inside, if you send the hologram through the doors. But I messed up and it hit the door, so the Juvies managed to make it out here with us, which is kind of annoying, but the Juvies aren't too tough to kill, so we ended up just meleeing them to death, working together to get them killed. Nothing else made it out of the door, which is pretty decent. And yeah, there we go. That's how you get through the Hive on Master without firing a shot. Pretty easy. It didn't actually take us that many attempts. It's a really solid strategy. Like I said, if you can get Cat up to level 16, she also has the stim just like Emile. She's a pretty boring character. She hasn't really got that many useful cards. She only really has two, and that's the hologram duration and the stim. They're the only two you'll really need to use as her. Emile has the bleeding knife and the bloody knife. They're very useful. The bubble shield duration and the stim very useful cards to use with Emile. And with Lahni, she has the flank card, which means she does more damage from behind. And she has the normal melee damage card, which she does more damage with her melee. She has the stim ability when she activates her ultimate, and the chain attack when she uses the ultimate ability. You can play around with the cards a little bit. The melee ones are the more important ones, and the hologram duration along with the stims, very, very useful cards. Let me know how you get on with this strategy, if it helped you get your achievement. I know it was pretty easy for us to do. It really didn't take us that many attempts. Hopefully it helps you out and you managed to get it done too. Thank you all so much for watching. I've got my other escape videos linked on screen or in the description if you want to go and check those out. I'll have some more escape master guides coming for the weekly challenges if you're looking to get those done as well for your tour of duty. Have a great day, everyone, and until next time, take it easy.